Now we are going to discuss a strategy for intraday trading. You can do it on different stocks or you can do it on Nifty or Bank Nifty as well. And in this, I only use two indicators. The first indicator is Supertrend. So let me show you the settings. Here I use a 7,3. So the ATR length is 7 and the factor is 3. And I use Supertrend for two purposes. First, to get a double confirmation of the entry, and second, it acts as my trailing stop loss. And the second indicator that I use is the pivot points. So this is the standard pivot points, and in this I only require S1 and R1, which is basically your support and resistance. So once you add those, you will get these lines on the chart. And I trade it on a 5-minute time frame since I'm looking to get quick entries and quick exits in this strategy. I trade it on a smaller time frame. So now let me show you how it works. So if we see today's market, the red line is the super trend, which is the bottom part, and the R1 and S1 lines are here. So we are going to take the entry now. So for taking the entry, we need two confirmations. If we are looking for a selling entry, we want the stock to close below the S1. So you can see here, the first candle itself has closed below the S1, and at the same time we want the super trend to be red. We want the super trend to be red. So those are the entry conditions, and as you can see, there is a double confirmation here. We're only taking an entry when the support has been broken and when the super trend is telling us that yes, there are high chances that the stock might go down. So once the candle closes, at that point of time we will take an entry. So you can see here the entry would have come at 17751, which is the closing price. And once we've taken the entry, our stop loss becomes the super trend value. So as you can see, super trend keeps coming down because it's a trailing stop loss. And once it closes, once the candle closes above the super trend, that is when we are going to take an exit. So if you see today's market, we've already made good profits and we are still in the trade. Let's see previous day example also. If you see here, on previous day, on the 21st February, we actually did not get any entry. If you see, there is no candle which closed above R1, which is the resistance one, and below S1. And this is happening because it was a completely sideways day. And generally, since this is a trend following system, if it's a sideways day, more or less, we will not get an unnecessary entry. And then that means we are not going to lose money. Let's probably take example of 2-3 more days. You can see here that the Nifty was pretty sideways in the first half, and then it did break the support. So this is the time when we are going to take the entry, a selling entry again. And since it's an intraday strategy, if my stop loss is not hit, I will exit at 3:15 or 3 o'clock. So we would have made a small profit here. Let's take more examples. In this example, again, if you see the first candle of the day here, it actually closed below the S1. So we would have taken a short entry on the first candle, and then our stop loss was not hit. If you see here, price did go up, but it did not close above the super trend. So our stop loss is not hit. We are still in the selling trade, and finally it did come down and we made profit because again at 3 o'clock, this is the time we will exit. So again, we made some good profits here. So this is how the strategy works. Let me also show it to you on a stock. So now I'm showing you on Reliance. Similar to what we saw in Nifty, we will get a selling entry here because the stock Reliance closed below S1 and super trend was red. So we would have taken a short entry and we are still in the trade. If we see the previous day, we would have taken a long entry this time, a buying entry this time, because this candle went above R1 and closed above R1. That means the resistance has been broken. So we're going to take a buying entry with the super trend as my stop loss. And on this candle, on this red candle, this is where the super trend has changed the color. So we will take an exit. So this trade was a loss making trade. Let's probably see 1 or 2 more examples. Again, on a previous day, we'll see that we will get an entry very late in the day, around 2 o'clock, a selling entry, and almost a break even trade because the market kept revolving around the same price. So almost a break even trade. If we see one more day, no trade because it's such a sideways day, But that's the beauty of the strategy. If it's a sideways day, more or less we will not even get an entry, and that means that we will not take unnecessary trades that might end up being a lost trade.